here right now with Steven, our video producer and podcaster and knower of all things. We are here today to give you a live demo of the Riverside end to end. So we're going to show you everything that you can do with Riverside, from the studio to recordings to the editor, and show you how to make some social clips. We're going to go through all of it, and this is going to be an extra exciting one because we have a ton of really cool features that we have premiered within the last month. We host these monthly, so every time we do this, I feel like there's another feature that we're getting to show off.
That's right. The team moves very quickly. They're amazing. The engineers
Yeah.
and builders, developers. And it's a new year. Happy New Year, Kendall, by the way. Happy New Year to
Happy New
everyone.
Year.
Happy New
Yeah.
Year. If you're starting a new show because it's a new year, let us know in the comments. Or maybe you're adding video to your podcast for the first time because it's a new year. We'd love to hear about it. So, yeah, share that in the
Yeah.
chat.
We have the live chat open, so let us know what your show you're working on. Let us know how long you've been using Riverside, and then as we go through everything, let us know if you have any questions or if you like what you see. We also like to see that. So feel free to shout out in the live chat, and I will say, because we're going to run through a lot today, and usually the question we get the most is this being recorded? And the answer is yes. So get your notebooks out to be able to write some things down, but if you miss anything and want to rewatch, we will be sending you for anyone who registered, we will be sending you an email with the recording. So don't worry about that. Awesome. So without further ado, Stephen, let's start before you even enter the recording studio about how you plan your next recording, how you can, yeah, you're already there.
Let's do it. So, if you've created your Riverside account or this is your first time, this is your Riverside dashboard. This is my personal dashboard, and yours will likely just have a sample project if it's your first time. But when you're planning your first recording, you have a few options here. We have a big plan button, and this is where you can schedule a future session, a future recording, or live stream because Riverside has amazing live streaming tools as well. And if you want to invite someone to record with you, like a remote guest, an interview guest, that invite to record button is where you get the links. And so if you're going to have a co host, a guest, interview, you click that invite to record, and then you have the guest link right here. You can copy that, send it to someone, and that's how they'll join you in the studio, which we're going to show you in just a moment. You can also send an email to them. You can just type their email in down here, click send invite, and then they'll get an email with some instructions from Riverside and all that good stuff with a link to join as well. And if you want to be even more fancy and actually have that scheduled date and time, plan a recording, we can schedule a session, future recording or live stream. Let's call this a live webinar. And let's say we want to do this tomorrow, 12:15 p.m. sounds good. I can add my guest to invite or emails right here. And if you're going to be doing live streaming, webinars, things like that, we even have audience registration features, which is really cool. But I'll
Yeah,
create a.
everyone who's been here is signed up through our audience link. So,
That's exactly right.
really cool way to go live, really cool way to do webinars. So, yeah.
That's exactly right. And so now that we scheduled a session, you can add this to a Google Calendar with one click, which is great. And if you invite people to record with you now, they'll actually get the time and date of the recording as well. So that's how to plan a recording, get the guest link. And now, should we jump in to a studio and record?
I think we could jump in. Yeah.
Let's do it. So when it's time to record, we have a big record button here at the top of every studio. And then you come into the lobby screen. This is where you would choose your microphone, camera, and speaker. And so I'm going to type my name here. I'm going to click I'm using headphones. And then we would choose our camera, microphone, and speaker over here. If you want, Kendall, you can actually use the live stream layouts to focus on the screen share so they don't see me double. And
Ooh,
that's a feature we're actually going to show.
this is a new thing.
And
Okay.
I'll show you how to use this feature also in a second. So
Okay.
I've chosen my
I'm gonna get
camera,
to
which is
this.
actually a video switcher. I'll have my microphone chosen here and headphones. And we suggest using headphones for a couple reasons. With wired headphones, you don't have to worry about battery life or AirPods dying, things like that. But you should be also able to monitor your own voice. If you have a USB mic, oftentimes there's a headphone jack in the bottom. Just plug your headphones into there, or you can plug them into your computer. So let's join the studio. And here we are. This is where we record. This is where the magic happens. You record, you live stream, all of that. Now, you can still access those invite links. So maybe jumped in here, you're getting ready to record, but you forgot to send it to your co host or guest. I can still click the invite button at the top, copy the link, or send an email to someone, and then they can join me in the studio. Now, I just sent a guest link to someone else, and so they're about to join me in the studio. And so let's see if they can come in here. And here we are. Our
There
guest
he is.
is my finder pillow. And so that's our special guest. So now there's two people here in the studio. Now, a couple cool things. I just mentioned to Kendall about live stream layouts. If you're going to be live streaming or you just want to change the visual, you can actually reorder who appears on what side by rolling your mouse over a video, clicking and dragging on the 6 dots at the top, and you can change the order of how people appear. And this will affect if you're live streaming as well. You can even pin a video. So if I roll my mouse over and you see this pin option, I can pin a person. Maybe that's my interview guest and I just want them full screen the whole time or large the whole time. You can pin a guest just like that.
I
So
do
that's
want
some
to
of our,
just jump in really quickly
yeah.
and say that somebody had just commented that they noticed that there's a bit of a delay from your voice and the mouth movement. That is just because Stephen is showing another studio. So there's going to be a delay because it's a studio within a studio because we're showing you this demo. So I'm actually going to bring up Stephen back here on the side, and you could see that that's kind of what's causing the delay. But otherwise, you should be fine when you're recording yourself.
Yes, if you've ever seen the movie Inception, it's a studio within a studio. Okay, I actually this is unrelated, but I actually have the Inception top right here.
Ooh,
Anyway,
the
how about
beauty of
that?
live. We just go wherever we want.
Sorry. Okay, so that's some of our live stream layouts. Now, I also want to mention if you want to live stream, again, maybe you just want a solo live stream to your YouTube channel, Twitch, maybe you're hosting webinars, all the live stream tools you'll find up here in the menu bar. And here you have multiple options. You can add social destinations. So you see, I've actually already added a Twitch account, I've added a YouTube channel, and I can click this plus button and add all these different live stream destinations, even a custom RTMP. And that might sound advanced, but we have a whole video on the YouTube channel about setting up RTMP, and this could help with Instagram. You can live stream to Instagram that way, or for scheduled events like on YouTube. So you can add as many of these destinations as you want to live stream, and then you can toggle them on or off after they're connected. So maybe you have multiple channels or multiple connections, but this time I only want to live stream to YouTube. Well, I can turn off Twitch, enable YouTube, or vice versa. So pretty cool feature there. And Riverside Audience Mode can also be enabled by this public audience link. That's actually what you're all using right now to watch this webinar. And you get access to things like live audience call-ins, clickable lower thirds, which we'll show you in a second, and more. So that's the Riverside Audience Mode link that you can enable right here.
I will jump in really quick and say that Maria asked before we move on, what's an RTMP?
RTMP is just a protocol for live streaming. So if you were to go to your YouTube studio, to your live streaming settings, and they say schedule a live stream, they're going to give you a stream URL and a stream key. And what that looks like is if you're adding an RTMP destination here in Riverside, you could call it, YouTube scheduled event. And then you would just paste that stream URL that you got from your YouTube channel and your stream key that you got from your YouTube channel. And that's adding a destination via RTMP. That's also how you do it with Instagram. And I'll find that video to put in the chat a little later where I walk through it step by step what RTMP is.
And I just want to also say that Christy asked, so you can live stream to multiple channels simultaneously. And the answer is yes. You also have access to OmniChat. So you can see your chats from all of those streams in your live chat. So you can kind of keep track of it all there.
Absolutely right. Now, last word on live streaming layouts. So the layout tool here in the right-hand sidebar, you have multiple options. You have grid, which kind of puts everybody side by side. You can do speaker full screen, and that will focus on the active speaker, and it'll switch depending on whose audio is being detected. And speaker split screen is kind of what has one large active speaker and then everyone else small picture in picture. And you also have the option to choose fill, which means it'll kind of zoom in everyone's video to fill the full frame. Or you can choose fit, which will show the full 16:9 video for all participants at the same time. So you have those different options, and this is going to affect your live stream when you're streaming with Riverside. Now, you can also, we have lots of tools for making your content more engaging, whether you're recording a podcast, and that's what I do every week with Riverside, or live streaming. And you can do it in multiple ways. We have something called the media board. Here, you can upload video clips or audio clips to play while you record. So I have a little clip here. I'm going to play this, and it'll preview down there. And then I can click live, and now this video will play. If I'm live streaming, it'll play to the live stream. And the beauty of doing this while you record is Riverside will actually put this video already in the editor, ready to go. So you can show visually engaging elements while you record, and it really cuts down on the editing time. That's what I do every week for my video podcast. I'll use another tool, which is our screen share tool, and that you can find down here under share, screen, and I might share a window, I might share a tab, and as I share, as we record, Riverside is recording all of those screen shares in separate tracks and also putting it together for me in the editor. And we're going to show you the editor in just a few moments. But it's just a great way to make your content visually engaging and really cuts down on the editing time.
We got a question. When you play a video, does the sound come into the live stream?
It does. And so you actually, if I'll play this video one more time, there's actually a volume slider down here under the little video preview, and I can adjust the volume, and that will go to the live stream. So you can play audio and video clips. Your live stream watchers will hear it, and that'll be recorded in for the editor as well in Riverside. Now,
Awesome.
Kendall's been. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you can keep going.
Cool. Now, Kendall's been showing your comments as lower thirds, but you can also create lower thirds and show them during your live stream using our text tool here. So I have all these lower thirds that I've already created, and I can choose to just show it on screen, and you'll see that lower third appear, and it's going to be hidden after 5 seconds. And you can choose whether you want 5, 10, 20 seconds, or just manual. So I have to manually show the lower thirds and then manually hide them. And if you have people watching via Riverside audience mode, like you are now, when I show a lower third with a link, people can actually click it right there in the browser on the lower third, and they'll be taken to that page. And I can create as many lower thirds as I want by clicking the plus icon here, and we'll type something that we want it to say. I can customize it, different size, color, the orientation, and then how long I want it to show on screen, and then also add a link as well. Then I can save and show it, and it will be saved for future use as well. Now, all the colors right here are just kind of black and white, but we have also another tool called our brand tool. And if I go there, we can adjust how our studio appears when we're live streaming. So on many of our plans, like if you're on the, I think, standard plan, free plan, you get the Riverside theme, and you also get the news flash theme, kind of a red and blue. But if you upgrade to the Live Studio add-on, then you also have multiple color options. I like the prismatic one personally. And that will change the look of the studio, the look of your names down here, and the colors and look of your lower thirds under the text tool that you show. And you can even use a custom hex code if you want to get real specific to your brand, and even and upload a custom background image, which you can kind of see there. I'll actually go to the fit style, and now you see my custom background image behind our video. And so you can do all of that using the brand tool here in the studio. And then we have our chat window, which you all have been using throughout this webinar. You have a live chat, which you can communicate with those watching live if you're doing that. Or the studio chat also is a private chat for just you and the other guests you've invited that are being recorded. And finally,
I want to really quickly just mention when we talk about studio chat, because somebody had asked, I'll show it on the stream. Could you show how to bring comments onto the screen? You don't have any comments there, and I'm not sure that it can work when you put your own comment. But basically, what you do is, you're gonna show it.
I'm gonna go live right now.
You're gonna go live. We're gonna show what's going on. And while we're talking about live, we did have a comment that says, "This is not live. I saw this last year." And I just want to show that we're live. We do this every month. So we're here. We're real. We're live.
In the flesh. I don't know.
In the flesh.
I don't know. I should. If I had a newspaper, I would hold up the date. I don't know how to. Here, the second best thing, I guess, in 2025, you hold up your phone screen, right? And you can show the date on screen.
Is
There we
that
go.
what people do?
I mean, just to show you, look at that. You got January 8th, Wednesday, 12:15. There you
Ooh,
go. There you go.
boom. Kidding.
He's trolling it. I see how it is. That's
We
good.
love it.
That's good. Oh, so I'm actually live streaming now, so I should probably demo this. So I'm live streaming now to my Twitch channel, and so I'm going to. You can actually once you're live and recording, you'll see the live record button up here. You'll see how many people are watching at each destination on each platform, and you can just go straight to preview the live stream by clicking it here. So I'm going to go over to Twitch. This is going to be really delayed because this is like a studio and a live stream. But what I want to do is show. I can send a message. Hey, can let me do this. Hey, are you guys actually live? So if someone were to
They're
type
leaning
that,
in.
if someone were to type that into Twitch, so that was typed on Twitch, I can go back here to my Riverside Studio. You'll see a little bubble appear on the chat window here under live stream chat. And look, it showed up, even though that person left a comment on Twitch. It was from me. I'm logged in as myself over on Twitch. I asked, hey, are you guys actually live? And now I can click show on stream. And now that comment is going to show on stream, the comment, the avatar of the user, the username, and the little Twitch icon. So you can even see what platform this comment was coming from. And our OmniChat feature then lets you broadcast a message to all the platforms that you're streaming to. So if I said, absolutely, here in the Riverside chat as I'm hosting my live stream, that chat is then going to appear over on Twitch. Look, there you'll see the absolutely I just typed in Riverside, and that's the power of our OmniChat feature. Super cool.
Such a cool feature. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm I am also going to just quickly point out that somebody asked does speaker labels show up when we're talking about what shows up on video. So even if you're not live, yes, you can use the speaker labels as well.
that's right. Okay, since we're streaming live, I'll also show you under the People tab, the final tab here on the right. This is where you can see, kind of keep an eye on the hosts, your guests. You can see that there's a little recording tab on each person because we're recording. We try to let you know multiple places. Hey, you are recording. You're good to go. It shows here in the People tab, shows here in the top toolbar, and the record button turns into a timer count here at the bottom. Then you can also expand each person here under the People tab. You can see the amount of data that's been uploaded because that is the magic of Riverside. Your video and audio is recorded locally on the device. Your remote guests, theirs is recorded locally on their device. And those high quality video and audio files are uploaded to your Riverside dashboard you can download later or use in the editor. So that's why it actually says how much is actually uploaded. It's happening in real time. Also, it shows the quality of the video source that you and your remote guests are using, and you can even see what devices they have chosen. Now, you can't change your camera and mic after you start recording, but that's a great place to look under that People tab before you start recording to say, hey, it looks like you have a USB mic, but you've only selected the built-in mic. Can you try to change that on your side? The People tab is a great place to kind of monitor those settings. And one final thing under the People tab. If you want to live stream in the highest quality, sometimes depending on bandwidth, if you don't have fast enough bandwidth, that live quality might start degrading. It gets pixelated, and that's because the bandwidth is being used to upload those high quality files in the background. Well, one setting you can do is under the gear icon here. You can go to your studio settings, advanced, and you'll see this option called hosts and producers can pause uploads. And what that means is toggle this on, and once you start live streaming and recording, under the People tab, under each person's name, you can pause the uploads. And this way, your bandwidth will not be used during the call to upload. It can be reserved to just having the live call quality be as high quality as possible. And then once you click stop, and I'll actually stop this live stream and recording, now those files will automatically be triggered to upload. You see this window pop up, and those high quality video and audio files for you and your remote guests are uploaded in just a few moments, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, and somebody had asked in the chat, what if one has more than one guest? Same thing there. You're able to go through the People tab and see all of your guests. And I think this is really key because when you're recording, as we all know, the people in the chat, because they're all recording too, it's feels so much better to go into a conversation confidently, to know, okay, I know that they have the right mic. I know that there are not going to be surprises once I'm done recording. So all of these things there that you can just look through and make sure that everyone's on the right mic, that you're recording in 1080p, whatever you want to make sure of is all right there to give you that confidence and make you more assured as you go into your recording.
Absolutely. Oh, and one final feature before we jump into the editor and magic clips and all of that. If you want to hide a guest, maybe there's like a special guest, secret guest, you don't want them seen or recorded until it's time for them to speak. The other feature here in the People tab is our Hide Show feature. And so you see the Hide button here next to my Finder Pillow or me. And when I click Hide, I am now backstage. And you'll actually see this little message here at the top, or your guest will see this. It says you're backstage, you're hidden from the session, and you could tell your guests they will not be recorded when they're backstage. So they're safe to do whatever. And then once it's time to introduce that special guest and bring them on stage, you can click show, and now they'll be brought on stage with all of your other remote guests. And you can record with up to 10 people simultaneously in a Riverside studio, live stream and record.
And I will also just add that hide and show feature is part of our live studio add-on. So with our live studio add-on, if you're going live, if you're doing webinars, you're able to add that add-on to your plan, and then you could do things like create that backstage, remove the watermark if you're live streaming, and you are able to stream in 1080p. Thank you for that assist right there while I was making that list, Stephen.
Absolutely.
Another quick feature, are we moving down to the bottom bar?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
because I want to go through those features too, and I know there's a lot. Again, this is being recorded, so don't worry, you'll get all this in your inbox as well.
absolutely. So I showed before the screen share feature, which allows you to share a tab, a window, or you can share an entire screen. And that's great for like if you do want to do tutorial style videos. You can. This is actually a secondary display I have connected, and then you can record that. You get a separate recording for your screen shares. And Riverside recently updated its screen sharing, so it happens in 1080p. It's recorded locally, and you're going to get the highest quality screen shares that you can get. And so it's a great feature. That's our screen shares. We also have a script feature. And so you can actually open up the script here. You can copy and paste, or you can just type a script here in this little window. This is great if you just want to refer to some notes while you're recording, or if you want to treat it like a full on script. You can even go into teleprompter mode, adjust the speed, adjust the size, and now you have a full on teleprompter, and it can auto scroll as you record, all built right here into the Riverside Studio.
Something I love to do is I love to put my questions in there. So if I have different questions, different things that I want to definitely hit on, because I don't like to type out all of my questions because I want it to feel more like a conversation, right? So instead, what I'll do is put like some points that I want to make, maybe some questions to get me back on track into that script feature. And the cool part about it too is that when you click script, if you go out of the teleprompter there, when you click script, it's on the top of your screen. So you're able to really, if you're using your laptop camera, keep your eyes towards that camera so it doesn't really look like you're reading that script.
Yeah,
Another thing yeah,
I would just
go ahead.
recommend too. You can make the window really narrow, and if you want to make sure your eyes don't look like they're scanning like a typewriter, make that window as narrow as possible. Or if you go to the teleprompter, there's actually a pop out option, and so you can pop out the teleprompter window, and now you can't see it because it's a separate window on my computer. But then you can move that window wherever you would like, make it even narrower, so your eyes are always right in the middle, right by the camera.
I will also say that a feature that isn't shown here because you're not recording, but once you record, what pops up on the bottom is called the marker tool, and I am obsessed with this tool. Basically, what you can do is, yeah, once you start recording, that marker tool will pop up. You could see it right next to that record button. And so as I'm having these conversations, and there's a part maybe that I definitely want to put on social media, or there's a part, I had a cough the other day. So every time that I had to pause to cough, I would use the marker tool. And what it does is you'll see later that it creates a little, it puts like a little dot on top of your timeline so you could see exactly where that part was. And it makes it really easy for editing. So you can either click that button, or a shortcut is pressing the M key. And that's just kind of my unsung hero of the studio. I use it all of the time. So recommend doing that.
I use it all the time as well, and that really helps cut down my editing in a video
Mm-hmm.
podcast. I'll try to mute myself by clicking the mic icon here if I do have to cough or anything. But sometimes if my co-host coughs or it's just something I know I want to edit out, I drop markers all the time, and I'll show you actually what it looks like because I they're in my recordings. So I'll show you that in a second.
Awesome.
Should we head over to the editor and magic clips and such?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to run through a few questions that we have, and I know we have a ton of questions in the chat, so I apologize if we don't get to all of your questions right now. Hopefully, we will later, but a few questions that we have in the chat. So one of them was actually before you get out of the studio, people wanted to know about speaker titles and speaker names. So can you show a bit
Oh
about
yeah.
that on screen?
Yeah, so as the host, I when a guest joins, they type in their name and they can change it. But once they enter the studio, you can still change it. And so even here, even while I'm recording, I can type over here, and this should really be the Mac Finder. And so I just typed, change their name, and I can add a title. And so Mac OS Spelunker. And then that'll be what shows up in the live stream. So you can change those right here in the studio. Just hover your mouse over. You can also change the size if you'd like and change the color or style depending on the brand that you have set here in the brand tools.
I'll also, our next question was that we had a few people asking about putting images like the media board instead of just video files using images. Right now, I don't believe that's supported on the studio, but we will show you how to add images when we move over to the editor. So something to look forward to, everyone.
Mhm.
Um,
Let me and
so
let me also
yeah,
just say
go
real
ahead.
quick, if you want to show static images, I understand a lot of people are asking to have them in the media board. Two workarounds I'll say. On a Mac, I use Preview. If you're on a Windows, there's other applications you can use, but I use the Preview sometimes to show pictures, and so I might just show a picture this way, static image. And I understand you still have the toolbar there. So sometimes if I have a bunch of images I know I'm going to show, I can open several in macOS Preview, put it full screen on my Mac, click the little green button, and now I can show or if I'm sorry, if I put it on a secondary display, I can show it without that tab bar. And so let me show you what that looks like. I put it over on my secondary display, enlarge it. And this is also great if you have like a Google slideshow, put it on a secondary display, and then you can share your screen. And here's the window here, and now I can share an image without anything around it, and it's just the clean image right there. So sometimes opening it in another application and sharing a window, or putting it on a secondary display, or sharing a tab is also helpful. And one of the things you can actually do, this I believe works on Windows or Mac, you can actually open images in a browser tab. Yeah, if you're not sure how to do that, like on a Mac, I can go to an image, right click it, and I might say open with Google Chrome. And so that's actually open now as a tab. And in the screen share settings, I can share the tab, and that's actually the image right there. So just a couple ideas there, and I can even enlarge it so it fills the screen. So, and then you can hide the different tabs and toolbars in Chrome. So just a couple thoughts there on workarounds about sharing static images.
Awesome. We have a lot more questions, but we are halfway through and there is a lot more to get to. So I'm going to keep collecting them, but let's move on to what happens after you record.
Let's do it. So, going back here to my Riverside dashboard, you'll see all the past episodes that I've recorded are right here. This is what they look like. And just so you know, you can have multiple studios. So, if you maybe want to have a studio for your podcast, another studio for webinars, another studio where you make shorts, you can have those multiple studios here in your Riverside account and keep your stuff organized. So, this is the studio for my podcast. I'm going to go into a past recording. And if you want to access your recording files, remember I talked about how those local files, video, audio, recorded in high quality. I jump in here to my project, which every time you record, Riverside organizes your media into a project. You'll have your recordings here, and I can go to my recordings files by clicking this. And now I have access to download any of the files I want. I can download the high quality video for my co host, his raw, uncompressed wave audio file. Same thing for my audio. And every time you screen share, like I mentioned, Riverside creates a separate recording, high quality screen share, And as you can see, I do a lot of screen shares when I record. And all of these you can download individually. But that's a lot of work, and it's a lot easier to put it together in the Riverside editor, which we'll show you in a second. But one other cool feature here is AI generated show notes. And I've actually already generated them for this recording, but you can click Generate AI Show Notes, and then Riverside will actually create all of this based on your recording. And you get keywords, great to use for YouTube tags. You get a summary, takeaways from the recording, possible titles, sound bites, and you get chapter markers, which this is going to come into play in the Riverside editor. But this lets you know this is what we talked about, this is the timestamp, and you can just straight up copy and paste these into your YouTube video description and generate the chapters there. So
A
that's the
natural next question that we get from that is
oh
like, well,
yeah,
what about the edited version? And I will just say that we're going to get to that because you can also generate those show notes based off of your edited versions as well, which of course changes those chapter time codes, might change a little bit about what the summary is. So yeah, that's also available as well.
let's show right now because as I'm here, this was last
Oh,
week's episode. And so I created lots of content here, lots of magical, look at all this content from one video podcast recording. But this was the final edit that went on our YouTube channel and to Spotify for creators. And so once you finish an edit, you can go to the exported clip here, download it. This way you can upload it to YouTube and such. But here, look, it generates show notes based on this edit. Now, when it's generating the show notes, it's going to just take the timestamps and the tags and the descriptions from this. So if you record like multiple episodes in one session, after you edit it, come here, click the edit, once you export it, click the exported clip, and then you can generate the show notes based on the edit right there. Also, one-click publishing to Spotify, Transistor, and Castos. I know a lot of people ask about that, and you can send this file to those destinations right from here. Oh, look, there it is. Just in time. There it is. The show notes generated for this edit with updated chapter timestamps.
and I also, before we go into the editor, I want to obviously give a shout out to Magic Clips, my personal favorite.
Absolutely. And as you can see, I use a ton of those. So Magic Clips right here, this is what's going to generate those vertical videos from your long form content. And we even have a feature. Is this out yet, Kendall? The
Oh,
workflows? I
yeah,
thought it
yeah,
was.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
It
is. Okay,
is.
okay.
We can show them.
Okay, an amazing new feature when it comes to Magic Clips and the full episode generator. I click this little customize button here, and this opens the workflow panel. And this is amazing. Basically, you can set your defaults for Magic Clips for all the future recordings in this studio. So, for instance, for Magic Clips, I want the ratio to be 9:16, that vertical format. You can change the layout, which Smart Scenes focuses on the active speaker throughout a recording, which is amazing. I'm going to show you that feature in a second. You can choose the default duration for Magic Clips. You can apply your brand if you want to set pace, which means removing the perfect amount of silence. And you can remove filler words with smooth speech. All of that, you apply these settings in this workflow, save it, and you can even check this box, which means it'll run the Magic Clips workflow for every recording. I mean, once you press stop on your recording, come back in a few minutes, and you'll already have Magic Clips generated in your style, your brand, exactly how you want in just a few seconds. And you can have different settings for the full episode generator. So you can say 16:9 because you want it widescreen, Smart Scenes to switch between the active speaker. Maybe you want to have the pace a little more balanced rather than fast because this is the full length episode. And you can choose whether or not you want smooth speech and magic mute enabled. And you can also choose to run this automatically. And then saving that means whenever I generate Magic Clips, it'll have all of those settings already saved. And Magic Clips controls let you choose one more time how long you want it to be, if you want to focus on specific speakers. And you can even type in a word, and Magic Clips will be generated based on the topic that you put here. Amazing. Wow.
Really, it's definitely one of my favorite features, and it saves you a ton of time because, I mean, the name of the game like lately has been okay, you record, and then I need to create a bunch of different content from it if I want people to see it. But that also creates a ton of more work for you. So instead, you can use Magic Clips, and it creates like dozens of clips for you. And you can just go through, I'll just go through, see the ones that I like, and go ahead and edit those. And kind of with that, I mean, we can, I think, jump right into the editor. Actually, though, before we do,
Yes.
We got a few questions in the chat about sharing with co-hosts, with editors, things like that. Can you quickly show how you would share your recording?
Absolutely. So if you wanted to share like the raw recording files, I can go back into the recording files window and the share button here at the top. I can copy that link, send it to someone, and they can download the files, the video, the separate video and audio files that way. So you can copy that, or you can, if you have multiple recordings in a project. So, like for instance, we have several recordings that we did during the demo. I can actually move these recordings. So I'm going to go into this live demo. This is a different project, but I want to move this recording to a different project. So I'm going to put it into that project. And now you'll see, look, we have both recordings in one place. So this is a great way to organize your content if you have multiple recordings, clips, all that. And now I can share this entire project with someone and they can access these files. So it's just the share button up here in the top right corner. Do you have any other questions?
I think, well, there are a ton of questions coming in, but I want to make sure we get to the editor.
Let's
So
do it. Let's do it.
let's go through the editor, and then I have all of your questions that I'm writing down. And yeah, let's jump right in.
All right. So to jump into the editor, well, I'm actually going to delete the editor is going to put all these together. So let me remove that. All right. Now I'm going to jump into the editor just from scratch. Let's say I just want to see my full recording and make the changes I want after that. You'll see it's already loading. You see those yellow dots for the markers I dropped during this recording. Full transcript here on the left, which you can get it in over 100 different languages when you record with Riverside. And the first thing we should look at is this right-hand sidebar. The AI producer is really where you want to start because this is going to save you the most time before you make all those minuscule edits. And in the AI producer, you'll see the same features that we showed during the workflows for Magic Clips and the full episode. So set pace, remove silences. I usually like a balanced pace, and it's even telling me how many pauses it's going to remove, 28, for a minute. We don't have a lot of silence. We have a pretty good flow. So I'm going to apply set pace, and that's going to remove some silences. And then I can go to smooth speech, and I can apply that. That's going to remove all the filler words and unwanted sounds. Magic Mute, amazing feature. It will mute any of your guests or your tracks when you're not speaking. So maybe there was a fan in the background or someone has a habit of tapping their desk, but when they're not speaking, Magic Mute can help mute their tracks when someone's not speaking. So that's a great feature to use there. And Magic Audio, incredible powerful tool, uses AI and Riverside will enhance the audio. It'll cut out background noise, apply compressor, EQ, all of that to make really any microphone sound studio quality. So you can apply Magic Audio for everyone in this recording, or the next thing you can do over in this toolbar is I can go down to tracks and I can actually apply Magic Audio per track. So maybe you had one person, they were recording with the Riverside app on their iPhone with the built-in mic. Well, you might want to apply Magic Audio and then that will enhance how they sound. You can also adjust the volume for individual tracks here. And under this tracks tool, you can also change the order with which people appear. So if you want to be on the left, co-host on the right, I can just click and drag and change the order simply right there. And real quick, if I wanted to quickly create a short and change the format of this entire video, that format tool up here in the middle, I can quickly make a vertical 9:16 or go to a 1:1 square or back to widescreen. That little tool right there will save you a ton of time. If you were in Final Cut or Premiere, you'd have to create a new sequence, copy, paste, crop. All of that can be done in a second just by using this aspect ratio tool here at the top. Also,
Yes.
yeah, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying like
Oh,
that's one of my that's it's such
great.
like a small thing that it's really cool to just play around with, and you could make a ton of content for Reels and your episode and just do it all right there.
Absolutely. Next is our new brand kit. This was a newer feature, and here you can actually create a brand that will be saved for your future recordings, and it'll just live here in the editor. You can add a custom logo, color palette, a background image, which I have here, and you can even do things like add captions if this is a 9:16 format, but don't add captions if it's widescreen. Amazing, which means if you're going to create a short form, automatically add captions. If not, it'll leave the captions off. And you can even add an intro or an outro video clip depending on the aspect ratio. Again, you might want an intro for the full 16:9, but not one for the vertical. And you can actually customize that here, upload a clip right here, and that'll be used as the intro. And then I can just click apply brand, and it's going to apply my background image. You'll see I like having space between me and my co-host video with little rounded corners, and I can just apply that brand every time I jump here into the editor when I'm starting from scratch.
And that answers Sherry's question, which is how do I create an open and close that'll be played in each show, or do I have to place it in each time? So you can just go in, apply this brand tool, and it'll add that open and close depending on the settings that you put. So you can really customize it as well for what you need.
Absolutely. And if you want to manually add maybe a different intro or outro, these big plus buttons down here in the timeline, I can click the plus button, upload a clip from my computer as an intro. I can choose from my other edits in my studios. Maybe I recorded an intro somewhere. Well, I can just pull that in right here, or just your raw recordings, or even do an empty section if you want to do an image overlay, text. That we're getting ahead of ourselves. But anyway, you can do all of that with the plus button.
Slow down, Stephen.
Sorry, I'm getting excited. Now, in the layout tool, we have this is the smart scenes feature, and I'm going to click it here, and it works so quickly. And what that does is it will focus on the active speaker throughout the recording. And so I'll jump in and kind of zoom in on the timeline here. And what this will have done is if I'm speaking, it will focus on me. During those in between moments of the conversation, it'll have both of us on screen. And then when my co host is talking, it will focus just on him. And if you have multiple guests, it'll focus on the active speaker all the time, go back to kind of everyone on screen in those in between moments or if someone's laughing. And this is basically a multicam editor built right here into Riverside. And it also, again, the screen shares, like I told you about, Riverside's going to put that together for you as well. And just a great way to have an engaging visual, switching between speakers and screen shares, both of you on screen. And that was all just using the Smart Scenes feature up here. And that was under the layout, Smart Scenes. Super cool.
Something I just want to point out really quick because Dave had asked, is this all or nothing? One thing that I really love about the Riverside AI features is that for almost all of them, you're able to use it as a guide. So what I'll do is I'll use smart scenes. Every time that I'm editing, I'll use these smart scenes. But you can go in and drag, and maybe one time it showed a full screen and I'd love to have this be split screen. You can go in and change any of that. So it's even if you're not using it as an end all be all, it's a great starting point. But for me, I'm been pretty surprised when I'm using it. I'm just like how well it nails it. But the thing is that you're creating something that you're passionate about and you want to be able to make the edits that you want. You want it to be able to look the way that you want it to. So these AI features, you're able to still make sure that you're getting that. For example, also, when you're deleting silences, if you want to bring a silence back up, you can highlight it and bring it back. So all of these features that we're showing you, you can customize to your own liking as well.
That's right. And with the Smart Scenes feature, just to show you an example, let's say Smart Scenes, they made it so it's just the screen share on here. But a few seconds later, I want to show multiple people. Well, I can actually click down here in the timeline and you see it says Add Scene. I can click it here. The Add Scene tool is also on the left. And when I add a scene, you'll see it creates another little section above the timeline. And now I can say, actually, I want to show everybody during this scene. And maybe I want the layout to actually be grid fit, where all of us are in a line. Or I want to go to picture in picture. And then you can change how that one scene looks and add as many scenes as you would like throughout your recording. So very flexible, very powerful. Background music. You can add background music right here, upload your own music from your computer, or choose from a library of royalty-free music. And let's see, I'm going to add this podcast intro here. And when I click the plus button, you'll see it adds it right here under the timeline. And maybe I want that to be at the very beginning. Well, I'll just drag it all the way to the beginning. And I can click the little three dots on that background audio, choose volume and effects, and I can affect the volume, change the volume of that background music, and even the fade in and fade out time. And I can add multiple background pieces of music if I want. So I can move the playhead a little forward, go to music, choose one of the stock audio tracks that are here in the library, and now I have background music there, adjust the volume, so on and so forth. Background music, super easy.
Nice.
Yeah, animated captions. Underneath that, you have lots of styles to choose from that are built into Riverside. So I'll choose an animated caption style here. And now that is done. I have animated captions throughout the entire recording. I can still change the font, style, colors, how the active word is highlighted. I usually like going for the boxed look. And now those animated captions are applied. And what's really cool is if you want to switch format, like go to a vertical 9 by 16, it's automatically going to reformat it just like that. Now the live captions, the animated captions are in the middle, and I have a vertical clip and I'm ready to go. So animated captions, super powerful, and you can save a template that you like. And so I have my preset up here, and this is my preferred style, and I can just apply that quickly every time I jump into edit anything. Then uploads, you can have image uploads. You can, again, upload audio. But let's say you have a slide here that you wanted to show here in the editor. We talked about showing static images in the studio, but here in the editor, I uploaded this image. I can one click to fill the frame, and that's it. I have a image overlay, and you'll also see it down here in the timeline. I can zoom in and I can change how long it appears on screen just by clicking and dragging the in and out point. And so now that's on screen, and if I preview it, you'll see it'll go away once the goes past my out point. And let's see. Oh, good. You can say something?
Oh, I was going to. We're actually going to get to it, so I'll let you keep on going.
Okay. And in addition to uploading your own images, we also have an entire library of royalty-free images available to you right here. So I can click images, search for something, and maybe I want to click this image, and it will automatically add it to the edit. And just like the uploads, I can change the in and out point, fill the frame, move it around, and it will actually try to pull from your transcript and anticipate some of the images you're wanting to add. And so that's all just right here, ready to go, and makes it super easy to add visually engaging elements just right here in the editor, not even have to leave. So I added the image, made a full screen, and the last tool here in the sidebar is the text tool, and I can add text on top of whatever image, and maybe it's a title, maybe it's a chapter, and move it around, design it, all right here in the Riverside editor, which is pretty wild.
I wanted to just quickly pull up that we've gotten a few questions on how to add speaker labels. So this is how you would do that. So basically, Stephen, if you go to, yeah, exactly. You're able to take your text. And the cool part is that we'll show you once we're about to move over to transcript editing, you can set via your transcript or even the timeline exactly how long you want it to stay on screen. You can, I like to, and anyone who's watching the recording later will see in the beginning that I like to kind of have the speaker names kind of slide into the screen and slide back out. So you're able to animate that and really create speaker labels that go exactly at the time that you need them and look exactly how you want them to look. So just like the animated captions, you can switch how big they are, you can switch the animations, you can switch the font, and yeah, customize it from there.
I forgot that was a new feature. I don't think we've done that in a demo. With your text overlays now, you can do that animate in and animate out. So if I choose fade, I can choose how long I want it to fade in. And now if we preview this, we'll see our text overlay fade in just like that. Look at that. And so you can do that
Very
for,
cool.
yes, for all your text overlays throughout your clip. Now, when you want to make more granular edits, cut things out, edit your content, editing via the transcript is the easiest and fastest way to do it. So for this, I actually did, this is the beginning of the show where I say, welcome to primary technology. So maybe I want to delete everything before it. Well, I can just select the text and I have an overlay here. So it's, there we go. Select the text, click delete, and that's it. I literally edited my video and audio just by selecting the text and clicking delete. And you can do that throughout. Maybe I'll select this paragraph, click delete. I'm editing my video and audio. It's that simple. And a really cool feature, which Kendall was mentioning, maybe you want to pull something, a clip, and it's actually this exact section. You want to pull this and make a vertical clip for TikTok or Reels. I'm going to select the text, and then when I click the three dots here, I can choose keep only this. And when I do that, it's going to take everything out of the editor except the text that I had selected. Now I can make a vertical clip. I'll go over and add my animated captions. Maybe we want to add an image overlay. And look, it actually has some Christmas images because that's what we were talking about. Fill the frame. And look, in just a few seconds, I just created a vertical clip with animated captions, image overlay, and it's the exact part of the recording that I wanted. It's that fast. And everything is non destructive. So you can always go back, start another edit from scratch. Or maybe I want to undo it. That's actually not what I meant to do. I want the whole recording back. Well, I can undo a few times. It'll go back and I get the full recording back, the full hour. Look, just like that easy. And that's with all your changes. You can always undo like that. And we're back, ready to edit.
You you can also do a few more things if you highlight. I want you to highlight a section. So people were asking before, you can you can use the add button to add images. You can click a comment over there, and you can add a bunch of different things: images, text, whatever you need. You can add comments. So as I'm watching a recording that I did, I'll add comments saying, "Let's make a clip of this," or add an image overlay here. You can also highlight a section, and I want you to click those three dots.
Oh, three dots.
So people were asking about copying and pasting. You can copy and paste through the transcript, and it will copy that section of video and audio. You could paste it somewhere else. But one trick that I want to share is my favorite thing to do when I'm editing is I use the transcript editor and I will go through the entire transcript. And every time that there's a video that I want to cut into a short, what I do is I highlight that piece of text. I'll press those three dots and I'll press create new edit. And that opens a new tab with just that part that I highlighted. And you can also extend the in and out point to maybe I didn't highlight enough of it. And so while I'm editing, I'm like, great, that's a clip. I'll put it in a new tab. I'll put it in a new tab and just do that over and over again. So I do the full episode and then I go tab by tab through all of the clips that I want to make. And it's just, that's my workflow. And it's really simple that way.
That's awesome. And like we were talking about image overlays, I can select text, do add, and maybe I want an image to appear just over the text that I had selected. Well, I'll click image and maybe I'll search for, we're talking about a computer mouse here. I'll search for computer mouse, click an image, make it fill the frame, and now the image will be on screen just then during the time that I had the text selected. So super quick way to add more visual elements while you're editing via the transcript without, I mean, basically just highlight text, click add, and you're good to go. And you'll also see, we talked about markers in the studio. There's multiple markers here that I dropped. You'll see all these little yellow dots. It says marker 2, marker 3. Those are parts that I know I need to go back in and edit, and it makes it easy to just go there, zoom in on the timeline, make an edit if I want, which I don't know if we have time to go into the multi-track editor we have. You can expand the tracks.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
gonna say maybe we should go into the timeline editing because we only have a few minutes left. And people were asking, I see a couple of questions of, here's one. How do you make those fine grain edits though, after you delete a bunch of words from a text, for example? And this is when I go into the timeline when I'm doing my editing.
that's right. And so in the timeline, I can zoom really far in. You see the waveforms here. You can do things like splitting a section. You can then kind of change the in and out points for each section, editing it that way, or open up the separate track editor, which is this symbol right here. You expand the tracks, and now you'll actually see all the tracks individually for you and anyone else. And when you're looking at it in this way, you get an even better view at those waveforms. You can change exactly precisely what you'd like. Or if you want to delete something, maybe there's a little crosstalk or there was somebody made a sound, I can select one track just by clicking and dragging my mouse, click the delete button on the keyboard, and that part is gone. So you can really zoom in and make those granular edits right here in the timeline by expanding the tracks.
And I will also say that it's great for crosstalk. It's great for if somebody's kind of coughing in the background, you can do that. You can also, when you do the splits, you can pick up different pieces. So, for example, Stephen, I see there's a little section there. You can pick that up and drag it. So, let's say that you want that part to be the intro. You can just pick it up and drag it just like that, and it's a really easy way to restructure, reorder your recording. And you'll also see in the front and the end of your timeline that that's where you can do things like add your intro. And every time you can, if you create a split, you'll see that if you hover over it, that there's a plus button, and that's where you can do things like add an ad break, for example. And you could even take from your previous edits. If you recorded maybe your intro or an ad in Riverside, you can just take it from your previous edits and put it right into there. So that's something that I love to do when I'm creating my edits.
And two other really quick things. One, you can search your transcript. So if there's a topic you're looking for and you want to jump to it, you can search for a word here. It'll show you all the results down here in the timeline with kind of like a little heat map, which is pretty cool. And you can even roll your mouse over and see the context, who said the word or the phrase. And you'll also see all these automated chapters that Riverside created just on Riverside does that automatically. You can rename chapters if you'd like, and you can also delete them, move them, or even add chapters using the add chapter tool here. And that's what I do for the YouTube version of the podcast, because once you have your chapters precisely how you like them, you can click the three dots up here, copy the chapters list, and then you can paste that in your YouTube video description. And the people are asking, where can you get the edited transcript? Well, after you make all the changes in the transcript and editing however you'd like, you can download the transcript, a text version, subtitle version, or just copy the transcript to your clipboard. And you can also correct the transcript. So like the spelled Stephen with a V, I can just click that word, spell it with a PH, and that'll be changed in the transcript I download and also in the animated captions and all of that in the end.
And then once you're done, just
Oh
show
yeah,
really quickly the export. Yeah.
of course. Once you're done, you can export up to 4K video quality depending on your plan, remove the watermark. And if you want to do both, maybe you want a video and audio version, I'll click export video and I can choose to keep editing. So it will retain all the changes that I already made, the smart scenes, all the cuts, all the fixes to the transcript. This has now created another edited clip. And I can go back up to the export button in the top right, go over to audio, and then choose to export an MP3 file and upload that to my podcast host. So now you can edit once, publish video and audio all from the Riverside editor.
And we have had a ton of questions come in during this, and we also had a ton to show you. So we weren't able to get to all of your questions, unfortunately. But I do just want to give a quick shout out and show you a few things as we're logging off. So, first of all, I will say that a lot of the questions that you all had, we have in our help center. So I'll show that on the screen now for everyone who's tuning in live, and I'll add that as a link in the email that we'll send out. But our Riverside Help Center is incredibly searchable. So if you have any questions that you have on any of the questions that you asked in the chat, check out the Help Center and see if you can find the answers to that in there. We also have a bunch of videos that go through Riverside product by feature by feature. You'll see a lot of Stephen in there. So you can watch on our Riverside YouTube channel and find all of those demos for any of the individual features that you want to dive in a bit more to. And one kind of shout out that I want to give to one of those videos is we have a multicam editing on Riverside video. So people were asking about that timeline editing. Check out that multicam editing on Riverside video. And again, I'm going to be putting these links in the email that I'll send out to all of you. We also, if you have other questions about, a lot of you here are just starting out with Riverside or with podcasting or video creation, check out our Riverside Community Hub. We have links in there for our Facebook group and our Discord group. There are thousands of creators in there that are extremely helpful and supportive and want to cheer you on and help you grow. So I highly recommend checking out our community hub for all of that. And we have a few webinars coming up. So one we have with about repurposing, how to repurpose your content, how to create your video first social media strategy. We have a live stream marathon that I just posted today. So you can also watch our webinars. If you have any other questions, you can also email me, kendall@riverside.fm, and I'm happy to answer them there. But until then, this was a quick run through of some of the things that you can do with Riverside. And I feel like we didn't even cover everything because there's just
No.
so much that you can, so many different tools in there. So, thank you all for joining live and for tuning in if you're watching the recording. And until then, happy creating. We really tag us in what you're putting out. We can't wait to see what you create on Riverside. Bye, everyone.
Bye now.
Whew.